Let's compare the military forces of France and Vietnam. France is larger than Vietnam. Paris is the capital of France and Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam. Vietnam is populous than France. Euro is the currency of France and Vietnamese dong is the currency of Vietnam. GDP expectation of France in 2022 is higher than Vietnam. What are the military forces of these two countries? France is more powerful than Vietnam when military power is compared in 2022. Defense budget allocation of France in 2022 is higher than Vietnam. Vietnam has more active personnel than France. Vietnam has no reserve military. France has more paramilitary personnel than Vietnam. Vietnam has more total personnel than France. Let's compare the land forces of Vietnam and France. Vietnam has more tanks than France. France has more armored vehicles than Vietnam. And self-propelled artilleries too. Vietnam has more towed artilleries than France. And rocket projectors too. France is among the 9 countries which process nuclear weapons. Let's compare the air forces of France and Vietnam. France is more powerful than Vietnam when total aircraft strength is compared in 2022. France has more fighters than Vietnam. Both countries don't have dedicated attacks. France has more transports than Vietnam. And trainers too. France has more special mission aircrafts than Vietnam. Vietnam has no tanker fleets. France has more helicopters than Vietnam. Vietnam has no attack helicopters. Vietnam has more airports than France. Let's compare the naval forces of France and Vietnam. France is more powerful than Vietnam when naval assets are compared in 2022. Vietnam has no aircraft carriers. And helicopter carriers too. France has 10 but Vietnam has no destroyers. France has more frigates than Vietnam. France has no corvettes. France has more submarines than Vietnam. Vietnam has more patrol vessels than France. France has more mine warfares than Vietnam. France has more ports than Vietnam.